Virginia Todd with Leading Edge. This is one of our offices here. We have about 10 offices in the area. And one thing when working with buyers and sellers is, what do we do with all our stuff? And we can't move and we can't do it. I'm never gonna move because I take too much stuff. I don't know about you. And also we don't know what our stuff is worth. So I have a huge Beanie Baby collection that I think is worth $10 million. And Henry tells me it's not. So now my daughter's gonna have to go to community college, and that's just how it is. So welcome to our event. We have some wonderful speakers. And Kaisa here will introduce herself.
Yeah. So hi, welcome. It's great to see everybody. My name is Kaisa Lovell from Cross Country Mortgage. And yeah, Virginia and I had this idea of kind of what way can we kind of educate people how to handle your clutter and
our treasures.
Yes, that's right. We don't say stuff. So so my office is in Danvers, but I am a 20-year resident of Reading, and we're just happy that each of you are here. And we'll have time to connect after, but we're just going to have a great morning. And if you guys have questions, we will cover those in the end. But just some housekeeping things. We are going to break around 12 o'clock for lunch. And if you have to use the bathrooms, they're straight out the door to the right. But we just wanted to welcome you, and we're really glad you made it. And we're going to pass it on to Lisa.
Lisa's our first speaker.
Lisa's our first speaker of the morning. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Virginia and Kaisa, for inviting me. I'm so excited to talk about clutter, my favorite things. I'm like one of the only people who loves to see clutter until I make it go away. I'm Lisa Leonard. I'm a professional organizer and move manager. I live in Reading. I work all over the place, and I help people get control of the stuff in their homes. And I also help people who are moving decide what they're going to take with them, so they're only surrounded by the things that they need and that they love and that fit in their new home, and then I help them get rid of the rest. And people love to hire me because they try to get their kids to do it, and they try to do it with their spouse, and it doesn't really work out. So so that's what I do. I go in and basically help people get rid of their stuff. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the process of decluttering today and give you some tips and some resources, because you can do it yourself. Just takes a little focus and dedication. So we all know what clutter is. We can look at a pile of clutter and say that's clutter. But really, in terms of decluttering, I like to think of clutter as things that aren't serving you well in your current life. So you're not using them, you don't love them, they're getting in the way. They trigger negative emotions, like letters from your old boyfriend who dumped you, like why are you keeping those? Things that make your space unsafe. So if you've got clutter on your stairs that you could trip on, if you have old lamps that are, the cords are hanging out and you're not using them anymore, clutter can really make your home dangerous. If you're moving, how many people are moving or thinking about moving in the next few years? Anybody? Oh, okay. Well, you're not gonna like my presentation. No, I'm just kidding. If you are moving, something to think about if you're going to downsize in the future. A lot of times when people move, they want their new homes to look different. They want fresh stuff and different color palettes and stuff. So if you are moving, you might not want to take your old brown furniture. You might want to start fresh. Or if you're downsizing, it might not fit in your new home. And one thing I like to ask people is, if you downsize, do you want to pay $200 a month to store this item if you can't fit it in your apartment? No. It's not worth paying to move or store. It's clutter. So if you, I just keep saying, if you're selling your home, you'll remember this in the future. If you are selling your house, your realtor is going to tell you, you got to get rid of your clutter to show the house. Nobody wants to walk into a house full of other people's stuff. They want to be able to envision their life in that house. So, if you're selling and you're on a deadline and you have to prioritize, I would say, and a lot of realtors would say, the living room, the dining room, and the master bedroom should be your priority, and probably the kitchen too, I would think. And so, when you're thinking about decluttering your house, whether you're moving or not, it's easiest to break it down into rooms and tasks. Because I know when you walk in your house and you see everything, you're just like, oh my gosh, I don't know where to start. It's so overwhelming. So I saw this in a decluttering group on Facebook this week, and I thought it was so great. This person made an index card for every room in their house, and then they had the little areas that they wanted to declutter or clean. And they were crossing them off as they got them done. And I thought, wow, that is like really motivating, because once you get going, you get some momentum and it makes it easier. If you are trying to make decisions about items, it's easier to focus on the things that you might want to keep than the things you want to get rid of. So if you ask yourself the question, do I need this? Do I use this? Do I love this? If the answer is yes to all of those, it's an important item. But, a lot of people focus on what can I get rid of? What can I get rid of? What can I get rid of? It's easier sometimes to do it the other way around. It helps to set a schedule and milestones. So if you have a house full of clutter and you want it cleared out by the time your family visits for Christmas, get these index cards, say I'm going to do the kitchen this month, I'm going to do the living room next month, and that will kind of help keep you on track. And then as you go, it's such a good feeling to declutter. Like you just feel so light and you're so proud of yourself. So celebrate and reward yourself every time you finish one chunk of your project. Okay, so the process. Like I said, you look at all this stuff, it's really overwhelming. So you're gonna pick a place to start, which I'm gonna talk about in a second, and gather some supplies. So don't just jump into it, really prepare for it. Get some trash bags, get some light cleaning supplies because it's gonna be dusty, and some boxes and bags for donations, things you wanna pass on to someone else. And then you need to clear a staging area. So I compare a decluttering project to one of those little games with the tiles that you slide around. You need that one empty space to temporarily put things while you're working on something else. And another reason you need a staging area is because you're going to be sorting. So this is the number one tip of decluttering. If you write anything down, it's this. Gather all the items that are similar together. So say you have Christmas decorations in the attic, in the basement, in your utility room, on the wall from Christmas that you never took down. So get those all together, and then you're gonna sort them by what they are. Put all the ornaments together, put all the wreaths together, put all the yard stuff together. And that makes it easier to see everything that you have, and then think about how many you need. If you're gonna move someday into an apartment, do you need 6 wreaths? Probably not. Maybe you need 1 or 2. So it makes it easier to pick out your favorites, the ones you want to keep, and then let go of the rest. And this goes for everything, your shoes, your kitchenware, get it all together so you can see everything you have, and then sort like with like. And then you're going to evaluate the items on 3 criteria. Are you going to keep it? Are you going to let it go? Or is it trash? One thing that really trips people up in decluttering is they try to figure out in the moment where things are going to go. Like, oh, I don't know if I should take this to Savers. I don't know if I should go to Goodwill. Should I give it to my sister? So don't let that slow you down. Just focus on those 3 categories. Keep, let go, trash. And once you have your collection of what you're getting rid of, then we can, you can decide where it's going to go. And I have more tips on that too. When you declutter and you decide that you're keeping some items, put them in a nice container or pack them in a box for your move and put them back nicely. Otherwise, it just looks like more clutter and you're gonna have to come back to it in the future. And then take out the trash and tidy up. There's something really satisfying about doing that, and you feel like you completed this project, this part of the project. Everything's nice and neat, your boxes are on the shelf, there's no trash on the floor. It really kind of just puts a nice little bow on it. And then take away donations right away. If you say, I'm gonna get rid of half my clothes, and you put half your clothes in trash bags and you put them in the corner of your bedroom, that's still clutter. You didn't actually declutter. You have to get the clutter out of your house. That is really important. And you can put it in your car, but put it in your car where you can see it. Don't put it in the trunk and close the trunk and never open the trunk again. So where do you start in this big, overwhelming decluttering project? Start small. Start somewhere that is either really low effort or really high impact or both. Some ideas are a space you can finish in 15 minutes. So maybe your drawer of cooking utensils. That's pretty easy. You could get that done in 15 minutes. Things that aren't sentimental. Sentimental items are the hardest things to make decisions about. You don't want to start with sentimental stuff and hit a wall and get discouraged and give up. You want to do something really easy that makes you feel good and accomplished. If you have gear for hobbies you no longer do, if you used to be a knitter, if you used to bowl, if you used to golf, all that stuff, if you're not doing it anymore, it's time to let it go. I think that's really hard. I think that and books are difficult because they are who you want to be and who you wish you could be. And when you're getting rid of that, you're sort of giving up on that vision and dream, but you have to be objective and think critically about it and, let that stuff go. Large items like suitcases are great, and you can also put donations in suitcases, so that's a double bonus. And then empty boxes. If you bought a food processor 10 years ago and you have the box in the basement in case you need to return it, you don't need to return it anymore. So you can get rid of that box. And that is like one of those things. I always, if I do a basement, I'm like, let's get rid of all these boxes. And all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, I have all this space. It's so great. And also I wanted to mention, if you have boxes with the hard white molded styrofoam in them, you can take that to the Reading DPW Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. and they have a nice big box you can put it in, so you don't have to throw it away. So when you get rid of these boxes, you always end up with that stuff. And then again, areas with safety issues that I mentioned earlier, the clutter on the stairs, old appliances that have frayed cords, those are pretty easy wins. Okay, so getting rid of items. I even struggle with this. I'm not saying it's easy because you're going to have a lot of items that probably all can go to different places. So I try to go for the most bang for my buck approach. And I try to find organizations that take a wide variety of things and also that might pick up, because that is super helpful to just have somebody take your clutter away. I created a little handout for you that you should have on your table with places like that do take items and pick up, and also some specialized items that are usually hard to find, hard to donate. Anyway, you can have your donations, so drop them off or schedule a pickup. If there's items that you really don't want to donate and you want to give to a specific person, or you want to give to somebody that really will love it or really need it, I love putting things on Facebook. I don't like selling things on Facebook. That's a whole other adventure that will make you hate people. So I try to avoid that. But there's a Pay It Forward group in Reading. I think there's maybe Free Cycle in Wakefield. There's lots of local groups, and you can just say, hey, I've got this thing. If anybody wants it, let me know. Somebody says yes. You put it on your porch. They come get it. You don't even have to talk to them. So I think that's a nice way to get rid of things. You can also sell your things. So you could call an antiques dealer like Henry. Henry's one of my favorite partners because he buys lots of my clients' things. You can also take items to a consignment shop, clothing, home decor. There's a lot of consignment shops around that will sell those things for you and give you half of what they sell them for. If you find yourself moving, or somebody in your family's moving and you have an entire house to clean out, after you call the antiques dealer and after you work with a consignment shop, you could do a whole house auction. And I work with a company called Max Sold to do this. And a whole house might get $5,000 or $6,000 when all is said and done, but it's $5,000 or $6,000 you didn't have before. So that's sometimes a great option. If you have shredding, there are shredding companies around that you can take your things to, your papers to, or will come to your house if you have a lot. I like Highland Shredding in Woburn. They're half the price of Staples and UPS. So if you've got like more than a banker's box, it's usually worth it to go somewhere like that. You can call a junk hauler. I always do this last because I do try to donate and sell as much as possible, but Charlotte's going to tell you all about this. But the junk name is kind of misleading because most junk haulers, including Junk Baby, donate things. So if you have furniture that you can't get rid of and you call someone like them, they will take it away, but they will work with organizations that they have connections with and try to donate it. So you don't have to feel like it's all going into a landfill. And then finally, please do not dump your things on your friends and family unless they specifically ask for them. I have so many clients who will take 10 sweaters out of their closet and say, oh, my sister would love these sweaters. I'm just going to give them to my sister. Well, those things go from being your burden to your sister's burden. And she's going to feel like, oh, my sister gave these to me. I can't get rid of them. So, unless somebody says, I really want that, or unless they come in your house and look around and say, yeah, I'll take that, don't dump your stuff on other people. And here are some tips for saving time. Like I mentioned, prioritize and set goals. One of the hardest things about decluttering is getting distracted, finding your high school yearbook and sitting there and looking at it for an hour. So if you have those goals, I'm going to get this part of the house done today, then it's easier to stay on track. Working with a partner is awesome. Probably not your spouse, probably not your kids. because they're too emotionally attached and you've probably been talking about this clutter for years and they're sick of it and they just want you to throw everything away. If you have a good friend or neighbor who's firm but fun, that's how I like to describe myself. And they're, somebody who's going to really ask the right questions to get you to think critically and objectively about your stuff. That's the kind of person you want to work with. You can also hire a professional. There are hundreds of professional organizers in the area. If you get stuck on an item, don't agonize over it. Some things are just really hard, so set them aside, move on to something else. You will find that once you get the momentum going, once you do one room, you go on to the second room, you're more likely to let things go. You kind of just hit this wall at one point, and then you're like, you know what, I'm just getting rid of it. So the more you do, the easier it is. If you're really in a time crunch, I would just donate your stuff. If you have time to have Henry come in, if you have time to have a consignment person come in, that is worth it. But if you're in a rush, just donate it. And I would skip the receipts, because unless you itemize on your taxes, it's not really worth it. And the receipts are a huge pain. The IRS has really strict guidelines about it. I like to keep boxes and bags around the house. So I have a box in my bedroom and a box in the kitchen. And as I, get dressed for something, I'll be like, ugh, I haven't worn this shirt in a year. I'm going to put it back. And then I go, no, I think it's time to donate it. So I throw it in the box. I do the same thing in the kitchen. I've got them all over. And then once they fill up, I just take them to Goodwill. And finally, this is the big secret about clutter. You are bringing it into your house. So if you must bring things in, do, one thing in, two things out. But, I have really, since I started doing this 5 years ago, I have really changed my shopping habits, because it kills me to see people giving away things that they paid good money for. And I know that's why you have a hard time giving things away too. So the less stuff you buy, the fewer gifts you accept from people. If you have grandkids, don't be dumping presents on them because they're parents. It's just, hard for them. So, just try to stop the inflow of stuff or limit it. These are two books that I absolutely love. I'm raffling off this one today. It's put out by the AARP. It's about downsizing your family home. And this is The Gentle Art of Swedish Death Cleaning. Has anyone heard about Swedish death cleaning? Yeah. So it sounds really morbid, but it's actually a really cool concept. It's basically starting as you get older to get rid of things so you don't leave your kids with the burden of your stuff when you're gone. And it's hilarious. It's a really fun book. It's very inspirational. I recommend that you get them from the library or on your Kindle or iPad, because then they don't become clutter. So that's it. Those are my tips. Like I said, I'm available to help with any project, big or small. Feel free to call me. I'm going to hang out here if you want to talk about specific items you're trying to get rid of or anything like that. And now I'll pass it along to Henry Jensen from Henry Jensen Antiques and Collectibles. Let me get rid of this.
I wish I was smart enough to do something like this on my talks.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I forgot.
Well, I also want to start by thanking Virginia and Kaiser for setting up this program. You can't get enough information when you're downsizing. I've been collecting for about 50 years now. And back when I started, we cherished Americana and traditional antiques. The things we got from our grandparents and parents excited the crap out of us. The old mahogany, pine, and oak furniture. Grammy's china and silverware, couldn't wait to have people come over to see it. Our shelves were filled with cut glass and figurines, etc. These things we cherished, we preserved for our kids, because someday they'd have a home and they'd want our cherished items. Well, along came the 2000s. The kids now are old enough to have their own homes, and they look at us like we have two heads. There's no way I'm sleeping in Grandpa's mahogany poster bed. There's no way I'm putting apples and fruit in Grammy's cut glass bowl. And there's no way I'm using china I can't put in the dishwasher or sitting around for the afternoon polishing silver. So I set up a display for these talks to show people that, you know, when I come over, it's not the traditional furniture. Don't clean a bureau and dump the drawers. Because the first thing I do is I come in and I open the drawers and go, oh, bummer. Because today it's the little things. The things you and I grew up with. The things we took out of Cracker Jack boxes, radio premiums, first fountain pen at college. This is the stuff people want today, even if it doesn't work, like cigarette lighters. Nobody smokes today, but I sell cigarette lighters to young Japanese men in Japan all the time because they think it's the coolest thing to go down the street clipping those lighters. Same thing with straight razors. People find straight razors in the drawer and go, what do you do with them? I put them on eBay, and one gentleman in Russia buys all of them. I don't quite know what he does with them. He may arm the street thugs with them. But the point is, when you look at my display in here, you'll get an idea that, you know, when you open a drawer, you have to take your time. It's easy to dump. But in that drawer, you have the costume jewelry, you have the fountain pens, you have watches that don't work, you have thimbles, you have old letters and postcards, scrap silver, the odd coin or two. People don't understand coins. I've sat with 2 or 3 women at banks when they're about to dump their jars, and I can tell across the room, it's silver quarters, dimes, and half dollars. 1964 and earlier are worth at least 10 times face value. So I have to go up to them quietly and say, listen, here's my card. I'll pay you 10 times face value for all that silver in it. And that's not antique silver coins. That's a different process. When you have an 1890 silver dollar, you buy it for the coin and then the silver value. But it's a process that can be real easy when you bring your kids over to help you downsize because it's done quick. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to houses to assess things. The dumpsters are already full. The kids are heaving stuff out of the attic, and I hear them going, Mom, the Patriots are on in 2 hours. Nobody wants this crap. Don't let the kids come over and do it. You have to do it yourself with some reason. And it's kind of funny. A couple of years ago, I sat with an elderly couple, and I'm going over this whole speech. And the old gent stops me and says, Henry, let me get this straight. What you're telling me is you just want to get into my wife's drawers. Well, after a couple of seconds of uncomfortable silence, we all laughed. But that's the essence of the business today. And again, as you'll see, there's a lot of that stuff you'll look at and go, oh God, I threw that away 2 years ago. Don't. You call somebody like me who can tell you, yes, it has value. You may still need that dumpster at the end, but I may end up paying for the dumpster. All you have to do is let me look. I did a house 2 years ago. One corner of the whole pack cellar was empty, but the rest of the cellar had great stuff. Finally, I asked her, why is this surgically cut like that? What happened? She goes, my father brought home so many trunks full of Nazi things from World War II, and I didn't want anybody to see them in my cellar. I told her that corner of your cellar was probably worth as much as your house. They couldn't understand that. Nazi stuff, who'd want it? Black memorabilia, who'd want it? It's history. It's collected. Doesn't mean if you collect it, you agree with the ideas of those people. It's collectible. You don't pitch it. So when you get a chance, do take a look at the items there. And the biggest thing, as I said, is take your time. Call somebody to look. It doesn't take long to look. You don't be embarrassed if I come to your home and tell you, really, there's nothing here. Like that room full of Beanie Babies. You know, that kills me to tell people that your treasured items aren't quite what you hope. Beanie Babies, I take them to my shop, boxfuls, $4 a piece. And they eventually sell. And still at home, I have 3 Princess Diana purple bears. I'll probably never be able to get rid of them because I've seen them online for $300,000. So, I'm stuck with the things too. And it's funny in Lisa's talk where she says, declutter, declutter, declutter. For 50 years, I've been bringing home everybody else's stuff. My wife is so sick of it. But, I'm the breadwinner. I have to deal with it. And I just have to tune her out. So, I have cards here. I'm easy to work with. Question a lot of people ask me, do you charge to come to a home? Of course I don't. It's a privilege to come to your home because if I'm called, most people are selling items. The only time it gets confusing is if I go to your home for 4 hours, I give you 5 sheets full of prices, and I find out 2 months later that I was only there to give you prices because you were giving it all to your neighbor. And you agreed, well, we'll get somebody in to tell us what it's worth, so we'll know what to sell it to you for. That's unfair. If you need appraisals, I do appraisals. I do appraisals for banks, lawyers, etc. But just coming to your house to look at things, that's free. And as a raffle, more clutter, but I'm raffling a somewhat rare little buyer's choice caroler, little girl with a teddy bear and a rocking horse. That's an unusual and a somewhat rare one if you know anything about buyer's choice. I don't give away candy and cookies because I eat all that. I give away things from my shop. So again, thank you for having me. And when we're done, if you haven't shown me what you brought, we'll talk about it, we'll chat, and take a card. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, without further ado, I'm Charlotte Melanson.
Yeah.
I come from Junk Baby. So what happens? What happens is Lisa comes in and she shows you how to declutter. You've decided what you're going to keep, what you're going to donate, and then you have another pile. And Henry has come in and he said to you, okay, out of these things, this is what will get you some money, and this is what is not. That's when Junk Baby comes in. We take care of all the rest of that stuff. The stuff that you don't know what to do with. That we also donate. One of the things that we do is we work with the housing authorities. We work with Goodwill, with a number of many different housing authorities, I should say. In Salisbury, about 3 years ago, there was a huge fire, and there were 27 families that were displaced. And Junk Baby received a phone call from the housing authority asking us if we had anything. And we had the capability of being able to provide for those families that had nothing. Good, repurposeful items, from kitchenware to furniture. We don't do beddings because people don't like use beddings, nor would I. I mean, you don't want to sleep on somebody else's pillow. You want your own. But the things that we do is we provide for you a service that helps you to get rid of that emotional piece that, you have that old bedpost and that old beautiful sleigh bed that you thought your kids were going to love. And they said, really? Nah, that's not happening. And they want all the sleek furniture, the new furniture. They go to IKEA and they're buying stuff and putting it all together and having extra pieces, but whatever. And we take care of the other things for you, the things that you don't know what you want to do with. Junk Baby has been in business for about 15 years. We're in Rowley. We do service all of the North Shore area and part of the South Shore area and part of southern New Hampshire. We come to your house. We have a great team. They are professional. They are friendly. They can estimate what your stuff is worth, what we would have. Let's say you have mattresses that nobody wants now because Massachusetts has put laws in and you can't just dump them at the dump anymore. So we will come by and we will take those mattresses. There is a cost to what we do, yes, but what we do is well worth what you are paying for us to come and do. Junk Baby, the owner created the name because he had started his business about 15 years ago with just a little pickup truck, and he and his then wife had their first child. And at the time, the Vanilla Ice song, Ice Ice Baby, was popular. So he turned around and he said, oh, Junk Baby. And that's where he got his name, because he had his first child And then 18 months later, they had their second, so now they've got two. It didn't become junk, baby, baby. You just stuck with one. So we have an opportunity for you to take a look at all the things that you've got. Lisa has come in, she's decluttered for you. Henry has come in, he's appraised and told you what you can get money for. Junk Baby comes in and takes care of the rest. We'll donate it, we'll get rid of it for you, the mattresses, the box springs. We can take care of all of those items, and we hope that you will come out and reach out to us and let us help you, because that's what we do. I do have part of our contribution today, and I think that you're going to be taking care of that, Virginia, right?
Yeah.
They're going to take care of that. I would like to distribute just some magnets for you and a little piece of literature that I can just put on the table so that you can have it, pass it on to a friend that you know, or use it yourself. You're getting new appliances. The refrigerator has finally died, so you need a new one, and you need someone to get it out from in between those cabinets, because golly, when they first put it in, they built the cabinets all around it, and now you, for the life of you, you can't move it, but we can, and we will be very, very cautious and very aware. Elisa had an opportunity to use us when she was working with one of her clients. And I believe that she will attribute the fact that our team is very, very careful. They're professional, they're friendly, they take care and concern about what they're doing. If you could speak to that for a moment, Lisa, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I worked with a couple in Merrimack, Massachusetts that were moving into Brightview Senior Living, and they had a 3,000 square foot house full of furniture. I actually called Henry, and he gave them several $1,000s for some of their, costume jewelry and gold. And then I did a max sold auction and sold the rest of it. And then we had a lot of furniture left. We had a huge sofa bed and another couch, and we had a basement full of stuff. And I called Charlotte, and her team came in, and I think they were there less than an hour and a half. And what I thought was great was that they were so careful with the furniture. Like, I've used other junk haulers that just throw it on the truck, and they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna donate it. And then you're like, how could you donate that? You just threw a bunch of trash on top of it. I watched these guys, and they loaded it like a moving truck. They took really good care of all the furniture and kind of Tetrised it all in, and I was really pleased. So they're my new go-to haulers.
I just wanted you to hear from an actual customer and client about how our team works and what they do to help you to donate the items that are, you have a tie to them. Maybe it's the couch that you sat and you cuddled up to the favorite movie with your hubby or your best friend or your little baby or someone who was important to you, but now this couch doesn't fit anymore. Now you're getting new furniture or you're getting something else. And one of the things I always look at is you watch TV and you see on TV, they have these advertisements for the couch that goes like halfway around your room, and then they have the drop downs. You can put your coffee in it, you can put your tonic in it, and you can put your popcorn over here, and then you can lift your feet up and put your head back, and then your head pops again frontward so that you can watch TV. But what are you going to do now with the couch, the love seat, the two other chairs that you've got in that living room that aren't going to fit because you got this great big thing in here that is fun to have? That's where we come in and we can take that for you. And there's someone else who needs that, because it's still good and it's still workable. So we will help you. Junk Baby, folks, that's who we are.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So we're going to hold a raffle, and we're also going to open it up for questions and stuff like that. So maybe if Lisa, you want to come up, and Henry, you want to come up, and then you guys can answer any questions people might have.
I'm not sure what
Thank you. Thank you.
Just the stuff. It's just gonna be.
Oh, right here? Oh, what's here? You want that bit or cafe?
Well, even more, they got sailors.
Now, the only oh, you are, okay. The only thing people did not ask, or you guys did mention, is like how to get rid of, when I work with buyers and sellers, is paint and things like that.
Yeah, Virginia just asked about paint. Paint that is latex can go in the trash, but you have to harden it first. And Home Depot sells, and Ace and all those guys sell little packets of paint hardener. Kitty litter works, but takes forever to harden. So these packs are like $2 or $3. They'll do like a can and a half, and it gets hard in like an hour. So you can put those in your trash. Anything that is oil-based is considered hazardous waste. It's hard to get rid of, but Reading has a day, I think twice a year, hazardous waste day, and you can take that stuff there. I would suggest that you start doing it now because it's really stressful to do it at the end of your project or if you're planning to move or whatever. So that is a big challenge.
Fire.
Yeah, yeah,
All the chemicals we keep and
I know.
stuff like that, it's just so hard.
yeah. That's a challenge.
The basement tool, the previous owner that, how do I deal with like a old tool for basement, like a tool?
I know, Henry, does that have any value?
There are a lot of old tools that are very collectible.
The collectible
Yes. I mean, just on my table here, I have the old fold-out boxwood rulers. We all remember those fold-out rulers. There's collectors that love those. All the old planes, collectors love them. So there are many tools, you'll get your skill saw with the cord. That's recycling, that's junk.
Yeah.
But older tools can be very collectible.
And what's junk? We have junk baby.
Yeah.
Don't forget.
And if you have tools that are
Can you
still
put a tool
useful,
into a trash can? Or-
yeah.
They're mental. You can put it in a
Yeah.
trash can?
If it has a cord, you can take it to Reading's electronics recycling box. They do the styrofoam and electronics Monday through Friday. So anything that has a
Folded
cord.
ones, no value, you say.
Well, that's why she says you can donate them.
Yeah. Yeah, you can also, if you have tools that are in good working order, you can donate them to Habitat for Humanity. And that's on my list in there. I put building materials, but they take tools as well, so. But you could put a hammer or something in the trash, if it's rusty and gross.
Do scrap metal people, any of that kind of stuff?
I haven't had good luck finding scrap metal people. But
Okay.
if anybody has a resource.
I have a neighbor that's nutty about people's skill saws, drills, etc. He spends hours taking them apart and unwinding all the copper wire around the motor. Then he donates the other, and he keeps balling up the copper. So he's just got big balls of copper. He's a nutcase, but he does take those things to strip. Everybody needs a hobby.
We also pick up any kinds of metals and desks and tools and things.
Does anyone have any other questions? So I hope after the raffle, you guys will go visit Henry in his room and learn more. Henry, do you want to repeat what you're raffling off? You said a nice.
I'm raffling off, I don't know if anybody knows what a buyer's caroler is, but these are very popular at Christmas. Any of the buyer's carolers that are sitting in carriages, sleighs, or the rocking horse are considered somewhat rare, meaning they could sell for $50 to $100. But I have a small collection of them that, again, the wife is telling me, get rid of your stuff. So I've been raffling some of my buyer's choice, and this was one of the last ones I liked because the teddy bear. So, okay, who's gonna get that is Pam Manahan.
Oh, right in front.
Yes.
Not bad. All right.
Oh, sure.
Grand prize.
Now you can
Okay.
raffle it to one of your
Charlotte, what
friends.
are you raffling off?
Oh, thank you.
We have our Vanna White here.
We have,
I have been a while, yes.
So we have kind of a back of the porch or side yard. It has a lovely tray in it for chips and dip. It's got some food in it. Yes, I put food in it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Crackers and dip and also some chocolates, a couple of glasses, a beautiful pitcher. So that's what we've got here for you.
And you can use a basket for
Oh, and the basket, of course.
recycling.
Or declutter.
Declutter.
Perfect for socks.
Perfect for socks, yeah.
Okay, Teresa. Yay, right here.
Awesome.
Kaisa, would you like to?
Oh, sure. Yes, so
What's that?
and I can carry this. Yes, so gift box of all delectable things. I asked Lisa what would be a good decluttering, and she said anything that you can eat or consumable.
Disappears.
So no clutter here. You can either donate it or eat it. And it's a little heavy. And probably reuse the
Yes.
metal thing for. I think it'd be a pretty planter.
Yeah.
So all right, there we go. And the winner of that is Sharon Minkovitz.
Wow. Oh, I need help carrying it.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you, I'm gonna go home and eat and drink.
Drink it.
Thank you so coming over.
I was just gonna say, put them together.
Right, I know.
There's glasses in there.
I'll go.
Remind us what you have.
All right, I have a couple things here. I have the Downsizing the Family Home book that I love, and hopefully you will too. Want me to pick it?
Yes.
Okay. Dorothy Erickson. That's in my book. And then I have a $25 gift card to Cal's Creamery, so you can reward yourself after you finish the decluttering project.
That's what I.
Tim Anzoni? Tom. Sorry, Tom.
Okay, and then my prize, I listened to Lisa, so
Get out of the way.
I'm giving away boxes, moving boxes, so you can start decluttering tonight. Yes. Andrea.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go. And then, Katie, did you want to say a few words? Okay. She's sponsoring our lunch, and she's from an insurance company. But we love her because she brought lunch.
You brought us
I
food.
brought the food. Who doesn't love food? Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm Katie, and I am with Quote Slash Insurance. So we provide homeowners insurance, flood insurance, auto insurance, so all the fun insurance stuff. So rates are going up. We're seeing it in every state. So I am licensed in all over New England as well in Florida. So if you have any insurance questions, I'd be happy to help.
And also she's an insurance broker, so she prices it out to many carriers and gives the best price. So I work directly with Katie, so yeah. So any insurance questions, we have you covered. And so this is the time where we're just gonna break, and we just wanted to thank you guys for coming, but we're gonna break and have lunch, but feel free to ask any of us any questions or check out your items with Henry. And we're just thank you once again. And in the future, we are gonna have 2 more events. So if you'd like to stay on our mailing list, we will let you know of those. But any other last items, Virginia?
No, I think
that's it. Yeah, so we're gonna
Thank you
have.
so much for coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.